The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that,
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
All right. Well, anyway, it's Wednesday, the 13th day of May 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, HSBC, Bermuda, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airways with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. How's everyone feeling today? It's what you all call hump day today, right? It's hump day. The middle of the traditional work week. How's everyone feeling? Is your week going well? We're one day closer to summer. One day closer to summer. The unofficial start of summer is next week, right? Next weekend. Are you excited? Are you happy about this? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a summer guy. I'm not a summer guy. I prefer fall. Autumn, that's my season. Although my birthday in September is technically in the summer season, I've always felt like a fall baby, autumn. I just don't like sweating if I'm not working out. That's my issue with the summer. What I do like about summer is all right, having trouble with the board, so I'm just going to run the audio through my computer. Claire Warner says, feeling good. James Burgess says, I love summer. I love summer. And thank you for that. Nicole Hassel said she can't hear me. Thank you for that. All right, audience, we've got a good one today. So greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Okeeno McLeod from People's Pharmacy for the People's Focus. We're going to be discussing pharmacy tips to stay safe, fueled, and ready for Bermuda Day. I know we asked this yesterday as we had the Rain in Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby Champ one, whether or not anyone's run the race, but are there any people who run or jog for exercise outdoors in the summer? Now, folks, I never ran outside until the pandemic. I was a gym guy. I was a treadmill guy. And then the pandemic happened and couldn't really go into gyms. And I just fell in love with running outside. However, there's a caveat. I would not do it I would not do it during the day, like when the sun's out. It was just too hot while I was living in Florida. All right, folks. The daily play today is entertainment. Yep, entertainment today. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, so let's jump into something. Something that has been weighing heavily on my mind lately. And honestly, I believe many people across Bermuda are quietly carrying the same concerns. You know, I'm concerned when I see seniors working well beyond retirement age, not because they want to, but because they have to. I'm concerned when families facing sudden illness feel that they have no option but to turn to GoFundMe campaigns just to get help. I'm concerned when organizations like Home continue reporting increases in homelessness in Bermuda. And I'm concerned that for many people, it feels like the response to these growing issues simply isn't moving fast enough. But let me be clear. This isn't about attacking any one government or blaming any one group of people. This conversation for me is bigger than politics. This is about the kind of Bermuda we are becoming and whether too many people are quietly falling through the cracks. On paper, Bermuda is often described as wealthy. We talk about our strong GDP, our international business sector, and our economic success. But the reality for many everyday Bermudians looks very different. There are people working multiple jobs and still struggling. There are seniors worried about whether retirement is financially possible. There are families one medical emergency away from crisis. And there are people in Bermuda who genuinely do not know where stability is supposed to come from anymore. In a place as small as Bermuda, these issues are never far away from any of us. Whether it's a family member, a former classmate, a neighbor, a coworker, or someone we pass every day, the struggles facing ordinary Bermudians are becoming harder to ignore. And maybe that's why I feel like this conversation matters so much. Because I don't believe most Bermudians want to live in a society where people work until death, where healthcare emergencies become crowdfunding campaigns, or where homelessness quietly becomes something we normalize. I think most of us believe people deserve dignity, a fair opportunity, access to healthcare, affordable housing, and the ability to feel secure in the country that they call home. Now, obviously, government has a major role to play. Policy matters, healthcare matters, housing matters, economic opportunity matters. But community matters too. How we support one another matters. How businesses treat workers matters. How we check on seniors matters. How we respond to struggling matters. So this morning, I'm not interested in simply asking who's to blame. I'm more interested in asking what can realistically be done to ensure more Bermudians are able to live with dignity and stability. Can government do more? Should the private sector do more? Or is this ultimately about all of us deciding that the struggles impacting some Bermudians should concern all Bermudians enough to want better? Question of the morning. What can realistically be done to ensure more Bermudians are able to live with dignity and stability? Give it some thought. Take a quick break and we'll come back and get to the conversation. This morning's discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
All right, audience, you heard the question. You hear what we're discussing. We've got some issues at home that we need to take care of. You know, what saddens me about this conversation most is when I'm in Bermuda, I have conversations, I do breakfast, I do lunch, I have meetings with people. And I need to be clear with this because some people act like I come across like I have something against those who work in the private sector or IB. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. But when I can sit down with people who work in the private sector and they can say things like, well, that don't impact me. Those problems are for blue collar workers. These are things that are really said to me. These are things that are actually said to me. When people don't see the need, per se, to even care enough to address this stuff. Question of the morning, audience. What do you believe can be done to realistically, what can be done to ensure more Bermudians are able to live with dignity and stability? And also, here's your poll this morning. Whose responsibility is it to ensure that people have a decent quality of life? Press 1 for the individual, 2 for government, 3 community, or 4 for all. All right? That's a long one, right? But whose responsibility is it to ensure that people have a decent quality of life? Whose responsibility do you think it is to ensure that people have a decent quality of life? You've got the numbers. Well, let's go to the audience. We've got Anika De Shields says, you are not wrong, Jamel. Very concerning. James Burgess says, before I got my issues, I was a wheelchair assistant when I retired to keep up with the cost of living at the old airport. Nika De Shields says, we were better off when we had multi-generational homes, grands and great-grands, parents and children in one homestead. It may have been easier to take care of family, right? Dr. Anthony Richardson says families need to re-engage with the members of the family, sharing the load and making things lighter to lift or manage. We used to do this back in the day. The version of family we have today is selfish, not caring. I think that version of society, Dr. Anthony Richardson, that version of society has become selfish. I truly believe that version of society has become selfish. It's and that's why we're individuals. Like you all, and I shouldn't say you'd be shocked or surprised because many of you, Bermuda's small, so we probably have these conversations regularly. But there are Black Bermudians in particular who work in certain spaces who really disconnect themselves from the reality of their neighbors and their classmates and colleagues, and wait for it, and their fellow church members. Because they make a good salary. They don't have deductions for health insurance. They have a home paid for and other properties and more income. They become disconnected. Oh, it's true. So again, audience, the question of the morning, what can realistically be done to ensure more Bermudians are able to live with dignity and stability? Like, what do you think? What do you think can be done? What do you think can be done? We've got Senator Misha Fabler says the public needs to call for more socialist policies. Well, Senator, give us an example. What are some socialist policies that you think will make a difference? And, the term socialist scares people, right? The term socialist scares people. So what exactly do you mean, if you can share, what do you mean by socialist policies, Senator, if you don't mind? And again, this is more to get an understanding for the audience. Nicole Hassel says that is true, and you are correct, Jamel, says James Burgess. Senator Fabler says collective ownership of essential services. Okay. Says universal health care. We've got Robert Big Boy Daniels says we took pride in being able to make ends meet by working harder. It no longer works. Bermuda is one of the most expensive places in the world. We've reached our breaking point. So how do we fix this? How do we get to a space where we can, I guess, ensure that people are not working till death, to make sure that hardworking people and able people have opportunities to make a living, to ensure that people who face medical crisis don't need crowdfunding campaigns. I'm going to bring up the government because I do believe that the government can do stuff as well. I think with crowdfunding campaigns, the community actually shows up. But I believe the government can do a lot of things. The unions can do things. I remember when I was in graduate school completing my MBA, and I said, if I were a union leader, I would create a fund like what they have in the United States, unemployment fund. So if anyone in my union was made unemployed or laid off or redundant for a few months until they get back on their feet, they can get such and such income, a percentage of the income they were generating. I feel like there should be, we're talking about CIT, right? We haven't heard the term in a while, so obviously Bermudians have forgotten about it, but there's corporate income tax, which in the immediate is supposed to, boost Bermuda's revenue, right? In my opinion, we should create healthcare funds for people because I see too many hardworking people in spaces where people are doing crowdfunding campaigns to help them with a medical emergency. This is not how a country that boasts about being one of the richest in the world, little old Bermuda, that plays a vital role in the financial sector, reinsurance sector, captive. This is not how we should be moving. But what do I know? I'm just a talk show host on the radio, right? Who knows? Let's go back to the audience. What can realistically be done to ensure Bermudians are able to live with dignity and stability? And folks, the poll's not working. I'm sorry. Why is the poll not working? Whose responsibility? Let me stop the poll and then we'll resume the poll. Okay, that's working. I'm sorry. The poll, whose responsibility is it to ensure that people have a decent quality of life? 1, for the individual, 2, for government, 3, for community, and 4, for all. Now, 100% of you have said all so far, right? I probably shouldn't have put that option. Probably should have asked, of the 3, who do you think the responsibility falls on more? My answer would be the community, because the community is made up of the individual and the government. But that's just me. Let's go to the audience, see what you're saying. Selling Kate Horton says socialist scares people because we have not educated them. Absolutely. And we've let people who disagree with socialism and socialist agendas dictate and tell what socialism actually is. No, I'm not saying I agree with socialism over one. you know, you know, I don't know why I'm being shy this morning, but you know where I stand, folks. You know, and if you don't, I'll share. I appreciated the Black Panther Party. You know, history has tried to show them as violent, as a hate group. They were probably, I think, Bermuda's love. Aaron Critchlow said it. That's what Bermuda's love was built on, to take things in our own hands and educate and assist our community. So I don't know. History has a way of telling us who our heroes should or shouldn't be. That's why, to go back to Miss Ellen Kate Horton's comment, we need to ensure that we are educating people. We've got Anika De Shield says, incredible, the cost of insurance and the lack of coverage. Yep. Sounds about right. We've got Michael Daniel says, Bermudians no longer know who they are, and I would like to see a social evaluation. We need signposts and personal goals. Okay. We've got Anika De Shield says she agrees with my idea on healthcare funds. Yeah. We've got Anika De Shield says capitalism is not working for the greater good. I see your point. I see your point. See, we need a longer conversation for that, because maybe that should be a poll. Do you think capitalism works for the greater good? I just know that, honestly, folks, and you hear my voice, you see my face for about an hour a day. I don't say this, but my partner says it, but I work kind of hard. And, I'm not saying other people don't work hard, but because I don't necessarily feel I'm rewarded for the work I put in as far as financially, but I believe people who work hard, right? People who are able, have the ability, and continue to deliver, I think that they should get the rewards, like the fruits of their labor. I'm not saying that now if someone's unable, that's different. But I think I'm torn on it, because the idea, the term capitalism, like to capitalize on markets, I don't. It's how you sell it. I don't necessarily have an issue with capitalism if it's done right. I think what we have is capitalism that's benefited few. That is, I think, the issue that many people have. We've got Ms. Ellen K. Horton says, lack of good healthcare coverage is a huge issue. The copay is often absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Dorian says, life was better for us prior to desegregation. Presently, things will not get better until we Blacks come together as people. We've said this for years. I think the late Larry Scott, former senator and City of Hamilton councilman, had conversations with me about that a number of times. Look, that's a conversation in itself, and I take your point, Dorian. I take your point. Teddy Berry says the government is responsible for producing productive citizens. If it doesn't, we will just keep blaming parents every 10 years when they had them as children in their system. No, I don't think the government is responsible for creating productive citizens, producing them. Folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. I think that the government is responsible for creating policies and legislation that give citizens the opportunity to be productive. That's what I feel. That's where I'm at. So I get your point, but the government needs to stay out of the way. Their job is to create policies and legislation that give us the opportunity to prosper. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, I know I say it all the time, but there is no quick fix to this problem. We need a non-political plan to address all of our issues. This issue isn't isolated. Look at the varied ideas thrown out. Absolutely. There's no quick fix, Charles. I completely agree with you. I really do. All right, folks. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Let's show them some love. Then we've got Things You Should Know by Teo Do coming up. You don't want to miss it. Stick with us.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
All right, folks, don't forget, we've got very special guests coming up. We've got Okeeno McLeod. It is the People's Focus today. Hey, we're getting into these hotter months. We've got the Bermuda Day Half Marathon coming up. It's going to give us some tips on staying safe, fueled, and ready. But before we get to that, let's go to Teo Dill. Something he thinks you should know.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to today's episode of Something You Need to Know here on TDH, starting with a statistic that should probably freak out all of us completely. According to internal TikTok documents revealed during legal proceedings in the U.S., the platform reportedly found that it could begin accurately identifying a user's emotional vulnerabilities and interests, in as little as 2 hours of watch time. Just 2 hours, not 2 months, not 2 years, just 2 hours of scrolling. And that gets to the heart of what the attention economy actually is, because most people still think that apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc. are fundamentally entertainment or communication platforms. They are not. At their core, they are systems designed to capture, study, and monetize human attention. The business model was actually pretty simple. The longer you stay engaged, the more ads you see, the more behavioral data gets collected about you, and the more valuable you become to advertisers, which means that the most successful platforms on earth are the ones best able to hold your focus. That is, we are, you are, your kids are the product. And here's the thing. This is not happening accidentally, like infinite scrolling, autoplay videos, push notifications, read receipts, streaks, algorithmically selected content feeds. All of these are engineered systems designed by behavioral psychologists to reduce friction and maximize engagement. Former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris once compared smartphones and social media platforms to slot machines in your pocket, because every swipe, every refresh, every notification creates another small anticipation reward cycle in your brain. And increasingly, we're seeing evidence that this is affecting how people think and behave in the real world. Teachers globally and here in Bermuda, you know this to be true. They are reporting declining reading stamina and difficulty maintaining classroom attention. Employers, people that offer folks jobs, they are increasingly complaining that younger workers struggle with sustained concentration during long tasks. Universities have also raised concerns about students finding it harder to complete extended reading assignments without interruption. And honestly, most adults can probably recognize pieces of this in themselves. You can see this in yourself. A lot of people now instinctively reach for their phone during any moment of silence, like waiting in line, sitting at a red light, during commercials, sometimes even in the middle of conversations with other people. We have become deeply uncomfortable with stillness, and Bermuda is absolutely part of this trend. You can see it socially. You can see it educationally. You can see it politically. People increasingly consume information in fragments. Clips instead of conversations, headlines instead of articles, reactions instead of analysis. And there's another important layer to this. The algorithms that dominate social media do not necessarily prioritize what's most truthful or healthiest or most helpful. They prioritize what keeps folks engaged. And emotionally charged content performs extremely well online. Fear performs well. Anger performs well. Outrage performs best of all. And that's a big part of the reason that online discourse now feels permanently tense and emotionally overheated almost everywhere. I mean, I don't want to name any specific Facebook platforms that are relevant to Bermuda, but just think about it, right? Like, the arguments are the things that not only generate the most contact, but they're the things that you want to engage with the most. Now, to be clear, technology itself is not inherently bad, right? These platforms connect families, build businesses, create careers, and spread useful information every single day. But incentive structures matter. And when trillion-dollar companies profit from maximizing human engagement, society should at least understand the psychological environment being created around us, because the attention economy is no longer just competing for your time. It's competing to shape your habits, your emotions, your focus, and potentially even your capacity for deep, meaningful thought. And that brings us to the last thing. A couple years ago, a peer-reviewed study published in the journal Frontiers in Cognition found that heavy short-form video consumption was associated with reduced attentional control and increased cognitive impulsivity, particularly among younger users whose brains are still developing. In other words, the more our brains adapt to rapid-fire, ongoing, consistent stimulation, the more difficult sustained focus will become. And that is something you need to know. I'm Teo Dill. Thanks for listening. Back to the show.
Thank you, Teo. That was so concerning. And I you know what I liken it to? I remember when I was younger and, I've never smoked weed, but I remember being in high school and these guys would always want to roll the joints and smoke weed. And I remember someone's mother saying, you guys should really avoid doing this. And one of the guys must have said, but you smoke weed, Miss da 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 da. She said, I'm an adult. My brain was developed when I started smoking. Your brains are not developed. I use that because in the end, Teo said something. It's like young people's minds are not developed. And I just see how some adults react from social media, right? It's crazy. Like people literally, it's like that. I was talking to someone about what's it called? Like this, it's not the Scorpio signs. There's signs. Sagittarius and Leo and Virgo, whatever, all that stuff, right? And I was saying I don't like that stuff because I feel like people start to try to live according to whatever their sign says. And I feel like with social media, people start to react to what their timeline's doing. It's weird. It's weird. I look at the king's visit to Bermuda, right? There was a time in Bermuda where you wouldn't want to be caught as a Black Bermudian in a picture celebrating this. Now it's like best hat, the best dress. And it's strange because everyone wants to be seen as more important than they are, more loved than they are, more accepted than they are. I appreciate social media. I may have shared this the other day. And we've got to go because we've got our very special guest, but I'll share this. I got on Facebook many, many years ago when you had to have a college email to get on, when it was only college for college students. For me, I always knew I would move back to Bermuda. So it was a way of me staying in contact with, former classmates and some of my professors and the like. This past weekend, I went on Facebook because I was like, man, it's been years since I connected with a certain college classmate. I wonder what he's up to. And I searched for his name in the bar. And all I started to see was happy heavenly birthday. And then I scrolled, I'm like, heavenly birthday? Did he pass away? And as I scrolled back to 2021, this former classmate of mine had passed away from COVID back in 2021. And it made me think, for everything I got on social media for, whatever platform, was to stay connected to people who were a part of my life at some point. Algorithms have ruined that. They've taken advantage, pride on our vulnerabilities and pushed things in front of us and taken us away from connecting and remaining connected to people we love, people who have been a part of our journeys. And so I hit up another Bermudian classmate, the only other Bermudian who was in my class with me. I said, hey, you remember such and such? Yes, vaguely. How's he doing? And they said, he came to mind. And I went on his Facebook page. He passed away 5 years ago from COVID. So when people ask me, I think about social media, I literally hate it. And I know we're using social media to do this show. It's a necessary evil is what I see it as. And we have to do a better job as communities to protect one another from the evils of social media. Because as long as it exists for me, I'm going to do my best to remain connected to people, to see how they're doing. And especially after this weekend, make it a point to, hey, someone comes to mind, hit them up. That's what I loved about social media. That's why I, joined social media. It's unfortunate that it's become what it has become. All right, days of the year, folks. And thanks again for that, Teo. Thank you for that. Days of the year. Today, we have quite a few days. International Hummus Day, one of my favorite snacks, Hummus Day. It is Cough Drop Day. Cough Drop Day. We've got World Facilities Management Day, but we're going to go, and you all know I don't dabble with it, but it's World Cocktail Day. So I'm going to ask you, the audience, what is your favorite cocktail? And I'll share my favorite mocktail with you. My favorite mocktail right now is a nojito. So not a mojito, a nojito. So nojito with no alcohol. Yeah, I made that up. I didn't make it up, but I like to make myself believe that. But what's your favorite cocktail? We're going to take a quick break. Let us know your favorite cocktail. We'll come back after this break. Got a very special guest, Okeeno McLeod, coming on for the People's Focus. Folks, not cocktails, but he's going to tell us how to stay safe, fueled, and ready. And I need this because I ran 2 miles on Sunday, 2 miles on Monday. Didn't do anything yesterday because I just felt dehydrated. So in my cup, I've got my dehydration tablets in my water this morning, just not feeling up to it. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. I look forward to having you all back for the conversation after this short break. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workforce for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carry Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
I know you want to come get some. Stop playing around. Stop playing around.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio areas with these most important community conversations. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Alrighty, it is Royal Cocktail Day. I asked what you all drink. We've got James Burgess said it used to be rum and coke. We've got fruit punch with ginger beer. That's a little Bermudian thing. We've got that's Manuela John said. We got Janet Maynard says ginger beer and pineapple juice. You know what? I'm judging the audience. You all don't want to be seen as what they call them luscious. You don't want to be seen as a lush, so you're not sharing your cocktails. Yeah, I'm not trying to tell anyone's business, but I've seen some of you all, right? And I know what's in your cup, but we're going to act like we're in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I'm going to leave you alone, but it's okay if you enjoy a little dark and stormy or swizzle, rum, whatever. Do your thing. Just be responsible, respectful, and courteous. All right. Without further ado, though, we've got a very special guest today. We're discussing, as mentioned, pharmacy tips to stay safe, fueled, and ready. This is the People's Focus. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Okeeno McLeod. Let me make sure I got the right music. Hopefully you all can hear the music this morning. Nope. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okeeno, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. No, I want to ask you a question, but I don't want to get you in trouble, right?
What's that?
I'm not going to ask you your favorite cocktail. Favorite mocktail.
Well, I am not on the clock. We don't drink on the job, so I can tell you I do enjoy some gin and tonic. But I'm actually more concerned for you. What's in your cup? Because you couldn't find the button just now. I'm wondering if it's really noon or.
I've got noon and it's a raspberry lemonade noon tablet in here with my water this morning.
All right, we need to run a poll to see if anyone believes you on that.
My goodness. Well, someone in the audience says gin and water, so they're close to tonic, but not necessarily. I don't know about that water thing. But before we jump into the meat of the conversation, just tell the audience about your background and what it is that you do.
Okay. All right. Well, I am a pharmacist. Been here at People's for the last 3 years. I've been practicing for maybe over about 10 years now. Been just an active pharmacist. Always out. If you may see me on the road, I might be running, swimming, trying to bike, rowing. So yeah, I'm definitely an outside guy.
I've only become that since the pandemic, as I said. But let's jump into the meat of the conversation. Bermuda's Day is one of the island's biggest events, right? There are a lot of people, some who may participate in the parade, some may participate in the cycle race, and many people who are not runners, some people who are runners, some people are walkers. They'll be getting ready for the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby. What should these folks be doing now to prepare their bodies before the race?
Okay, well, I'm excited for Bermuda Day. I think a few weeks ago you said it's one of the holidays that everyone skips over and completely forgets. I think that might be only you, but Bermuda Day is a big day, and it's also like the start of summer. It's when we transition into all that heat, that humidity really hits us. So we really need to be preparing for the day ahead of the time. So what should you be doing is you should start by creating a plan. If you're on meds or any medication, you should be taking your medication regularly. So diabetics, persons living with diabetes, persons living with hypertension, should be ensuring that your readings are controlled. And I know I jumped in first to the persons with medical conditions because that's where the focus is for me. But they should be on their meds. Asthmatics, persons living with asthma, you should ensure you have your inhalers and they're up to date, they're not expired. But for anyone else, as well as the persons living with these conditions, you should be fueling up, staying hydrated. Want to start hydrating a couple of days beforehand and ensuring that you're training and practicing.
I want to ask the audience before we get a bit deeper into hydration. Audience, does anyone, and a yes or no, do you actually take anything for hydration, like they're very popular now, especially during sporting events. You see, what's it called? Different brands. It's one in particular, IV. With IV, you see Noon. You see, there's so many different brands out. But I want to know, audience, have you taken anything to help with your hydration? And as we get into hydration, it's a major topic, right? You know, what are some common mistakes though that people make when it comes to staying properly hydrated, particularly before and during a race like Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby?
Okay, so there are a few big mistakes that persons make. One, I can just get up on May 22, May 24th and just hydrate on that day only. And boom, I'm done. Just need to hydrate for the race, after the race. No, that is incorrect. You need to start hydrating at least 1 to 2 days beforehand to get your body used to that extra fluid and how to process it. Also, drinking only water. No, water only doesn't help. You need your electrolytes. So we got, like you said, your liquid IV, your Diarylyte, any of these other electrolytes, you need to put those back into the system. Water only doesn't cut it. And thirdly, you don't want to overhydrate. So too much fluids, too much water, too much or caffeine is not beneficial. All right, it creates more harm than it does good. So those are 3 of the big mistakes persons make when it comes to hydrating.
Interesting, because in the audience just now, we've got Renee Shannon says electrolytes as water alone doesn't hydrate. And people for years have believed, oh, just drink water, just drink water, just drink water. You just helped me with something, because I literally do the opposite of what you just said. I will hydrate after the fact. And you're saying, no, you don't wait until the day. You don't wait until after you're done. But there have been concerns. You know, I've heard people, there's no medical evidence, but people have said, oh, I think I got kidney stones from taking liquid IV or some substance. When is too much? Like, speak to people about following the actual directions and maybe when to consult a pharmacist.
Okay. So most of these liquid IV or electrolyte preparations require you to dilute it in a certain volume of water. So you don't want to be consuming these in concentrated amounts. All right. So you want, once you've had them, you still want to be drinking more water afterwards to get the fluids and the electrolytes into the cells where they need to get. So remember, well, not remember, but these electrolytes pull water into cells. So water by itself doesn't get into the cells where it needs to get. And so that's why we now need to get the electrolytes to now pull the water to where they need to do the job. Yeah, let me leave it there. Yeah. I think I may have missed part of your question. You had another.
No, I got a lot in the audience. I just want to say I'll get to you. Trust me, we'll get to you. A lot of comments and questions regarding this. But I want to transition to nutrition, right? Because nutrition does play a big role in performance and recovery. What should someone who's planning to participate in the Bermuda Day Marathon Derby be eating and avoiding leading up to an event like that? We're talking 13.1, right?
Yeah. It's a long run, man. It's a long run. You want to be increasing your protein. Now, firstly, I'm a pharmacist, not a nutritionist. So there are qualified nutritionists here who can guide you on this. But generally, the advice is you want to be increasing your protein intake. All right. Protein, there are some calculations as to how much protein a patient or person should be getting per day. But you want to be having more protein to build up your body or energy fuel for the race. Also, the day before the race is when you want to be carb loading. So lots of carbs the day before the race to also produce that energy source for the output that you need. You know, gel packs are also good on the day during the race to produce energy, or some candies, depending on how, what you prefer. That helps to give you energy throughout and push through the whole, 2 hours or hour and a half of running. So depending on how fast you are, you can use those products as well to get you going.
Let's speak about this part, because after the race is quite daunting for some. You know, many people deal with soreness, fatigue, and even dehydration. What are some of the best recovery tips to help the body bounce back safely?
Okay. All right. So recovery now is where we specialize. And if you need the stuff to recover, just come by People's Pharmacy. We definitely have everything that you may need. Well, not may, everything that you do need. So one of the big products that persons need is if you're having pain. So we have soreness that comes on after participating in such a big day, whether it is the Derby or you're part of the parade itself, whether the Gumbays, the Majorettes, whatever you were doing on Bermuda Day, or if you were just walking back and forth from Front Street to Marsh Valley Road, it's a big day. So you're sore, you're tired. We have pain rubs. We have your Aspirin cream, your Voltarol pain rubs, your analgesics. We have topical. We have oral OTC analgesics. We have the pain patches that you can use as well. If you're not a big fan of swallowing tablets, we have your Tiger Balm mentholated patches. Also to help is magnesium. Magnesium helps with resting and recovery. All right. So we have your high absorption magnesium. We have quite a few products there for that. Another big thing for post race is if you have blisters from running, 13.1 miles. It's a long distance. So we have those blister creams as well here at People's that you may need to apply. We have, like I said, painkillers, topical, blisters. What else? Oh, if you've gotten sunburn, because we're going to be in the sun all day running that race. We have your aloe gel, topical aftercare for sunburn. I think those are most of the products that you do need for recovering.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you were speaking on earlier about medications. There are people on various things these days. You mentioned it could be cholesterol, it could be anything. For someone who wants to participate in a race like that, are there any special instructions you would provide to someone on different medications in not just preparation, but even the aftermath post recovery?
Okay. All right. So there are a few medications that can preclude you or make it a little trickier to participate in the Bermuda Day activities, whether it be the race or otherwise. If you are living with hypertension or diabetes, as I said before, you want to ensure that you are on your medication and everything is controlled. Your meds are up to date and you've been taking them regularly. With the increased physical output, you may need to consume more carbs, a heavier meal, because you may be taking your insulin or your metformin. But generally, on your regular day, you walk from the car or car park to work. You walk home, you might do a lap around the field. You don't do as much physical activity sometimes. So if you're going to be doing a lot more output, whether it is walking around the whole front street on Bermuda Day, you need to now prepare for that by consuming more so that you're not going hypoglycemic or having your blood sugar levels drop too low. For persons who are asthmatic, it's a hot day, it's humid. You want to ensure that you have your inhalers, you have it on hand. You never know what may happen. Persons who are living with other conditions that may be unique, whether it is kidney disease or on antibiotics, you also need to watch your exposure to sunlight. There's some antibiotics that do interact and make you more sensitive to sun exposure. So you need to check with your pharmacist which meds you're on and if there's any special instructions for you and your exposure. Also, with exposure, we want to remind persons to apply sunscreen. Before you apply your sunscreen, you do want to use a moisturizer because sunscreen only isn't going to lock in the moisture. It's only there to repel the dangerous rays of the sun. But yeah, so I digress there. So it's hypertensive patients, diabetic, asthmatics are the main key persons living with kidney disease.
I think a lot of stuff you're saying requires so much education. And the reason I say that is because for years, Black people with darker skin didn't believe that they needed sunscreen. And that's a conversation in itself right there, right? But and I don't want to refer to people as ignorant, but we don't know what we don't know, and I think we need to educate. I've been to my doctors as I've gotten older, and they're saying you have to wear sunscreen, especially now that I shave my head. You have to protect yourself.
It's in there.
But my hope is that people hearing you say that this morning will understand the importance and the need for it. I went to one doctor, a dermatologist, and he said, Black people can get skin cancer as well. I doubted that, right? But again, we were taught growing up in Bermuda, we don't wear lotions. We don't wear sunblock or suntan lotion or sunscreen. So hopefully, again, we can delve a bit deeper into that sometime. But I want to go to the audience because we do have some questions. Charles H. Jefferson seconds asking, are Gatorade, Powerade, etc. good or bad for dehydration?
So those are generally acceptable. They have not as much as your over-the-counter electrolytes may possess, but they are sufficient in getting you the necessary electrolytes. They are good in some cases. Some are not as good, but the ones you've listed, the Gatorade and Powerade, you want to check the listing of B vitamins and other electrolytes, sodium, potassium, that is in the contents in it. But yes, Gatorade and Powerade are pretty good.
We've got Suzanne Ingham. She says coconut water. I want to stop at coconut water because there are a lot of people who say, oh, just take coconut water instead of other electrolytes. Is coconut water something you'd recommend along with the others?
Yes, coconut water is good, but we want to say for persons living with diabetes, you want to monitor how much you consume because coconut water is higher on average in potassium, and that can be an issue for persons living with diabetes. So you want everything here is in it's a balance. It's a balance.
Moderation for sure. Charles H. Jeffs II, another question. He says, is there anything that those who tend to be overserved can/should do to prepare for their day of activities?
Well, yes. So the list that we've just provided is definitely applicable to those persons who are overserved. You definitely want to hydrate leading up to the day. You definitely want to ensure that you've had a heavy and hearty meal, and you want to hydrate after the day as well. So during the day to ensure that you survive the long haul. All right. I don't want to see anyone, seeking medical attention halfway through the day because you've, had too much.
We've got Abby Gay McLeod says, is pre-workout bad before the run?
Pre-workout. No, that I am not 100% sure. And based on my exposure, there are few schools of thought for pre-workout. If you are consuming ample amounts of fluid or water with it, it can definitely be beneficial, but also in moderation. They normally have sufficient caffeine to get you going and to complete your event. But there are different schools of thought. And again, for persons with different conditions, it might not be the best. So again, speak to your pharmacist and we can look at exactly which one you are considering to take.
We've got Kim Bugby Fahima 5807 says, how many liters of electrolytes should we consume per day before the race day?
Okay. All right. So electrolytes really have different formulations. There's some that are a little more concentrated than others, but on average, most electrolytes recommend that you dilute them in, say, a glass of water up to a liter of water. And then you consume that depending on your output. Generally, for a non-active or average active person, male, you drink 3.7 liters of water per day. And I think for females, it's recommended to 2.4 liters of water per day. So I would say you do 1 to 2 packs of your electrolyte, depending on your output, in as much of the fluids or water you'll be having throughout the day.
All right. A follow-up says, how do you recommend hydrating during the race?
During the race. Oh, okay. No. So during the race is also another big thing. I know there will be water stops along the way. It is really dependent on the runner or the walker, because you don't want to overhydrate while participating. Then you have, cramps and other issues that may come on while you're running. But you do want to ensure that you have your fair fluids. Your Gatorade or your electrolytes, you want to take that with you. If there's any other energy drinks, you want to do that in moderation, not too much. But water, again, along with the electrolyte, is always the best way to go while participating in a race.
Indeed. Even spectators, though, can spend hours in the sun and heat. What advice would you give to people coming out to support the various events that day? Because I'm going to say it. Bermudians love to consume alcohol in the heat. And combination. What should they do?
Before I came on yesterday, I was asking someone, do you think I have to tell Bermudians how to dress for Bermuda Day? Because it's one of the biggest holidays. And next to Cup Match, people come out in the best outfits, right? They are lining the streets, just decked from head to toe. We really need to be mindful of what we're wearing on the day. We want as loose-fitting clothing as possible, and clothing that can protect the skin. So whether it's going to be a hat, your shirts need to be, as comfortable and breathable as it can be. All right. If you know you're going to be exposed or in the sun, yes, you definitely need to be attired in a way that keeps you comfortable and breathing, so you can sweat, so you can, keep hydrated. Coming out, all the rules that we've said, keeping your hydration, putting your sunscreen on, moisturizing before you apply your sunscreen is also applicable to persons who are just spectating again, or just walking the rounds of Front Street back to Marsh Valley Road.
Let's close it out, because I have so much I want to talk to you about, but obviously people have lives, folks. Can't keep them there all day. But for anyone participating in this year, whether it's the run, walk, or just cheering from the sidelines, I mean, I still don't understand how gumbies and those hot suits dance for hours and hours, right? Yeah. But even participants in the parade, what are the must-have items from People's Pharmacy that they should keep with them on Bermuda Day?
Okay. Well, you guys have come to the right place. So Jamel and People's Pharmacy, we have created or curated a special package, what we'll call the Bermuda Race Day package, that we'll have here at our health counter at People's Victoria Street. So come by. We have all the products that you need for your pre-race, during the race, post-race recovery. All right, so we have your liquid IV, your Diarrhelite, your electrolytes, we have your sunscreen, we have your emollient lotions to lock in that moisture. Let's not forget, you need to protect your lips as well. All right, so we don't want to see persons getting all them chapped, dried lips while running or afterwards. So we have your lip balms with your SPF protection. You need to come get those. After the race, if you're feeling sore, you're having any aches, you need something to help you relax, get a good night's rest after the race. We have your magnesium products, we have your magnesium lotion, we have your magnesium spray. We also have your Dr. Teal's body wash. All right, these are some of the best products to help you to relax. We have your Epsom salts. That's to help you with the sore feet, whether you've been standing all day, jumping about. We also have regular painkillers, all right? So your oral painkillers, the pain rubs, the patches. There are so many things that you can get and need to ensure that you have fun on Bermuda Day, and it's not hampering. But remember, preparation doesn't start on the day. Don't do anything new on the day. You want to be preparing ahead of time. All right. And so come on down to People's Pharmacy and we can get you started and sorted with anything that you may need.
Okeeno, this has been awesome. Honestly, folks, I learned some things this morning. I don't say that lightly. I learned some things that will help me. So hopefully you did as well. One last, before you go, I promise this is the last one. So,
I gotta get to work. This patient's waiting.
Tim has one last thing. We saw SAWE use sodium bicarbonate during the race when we won the marathon in London, when he won the marathon in London, does People's Pharmacy have some of this sodium bicarbonate for the half marathon runners on Bermuda Day?
So Sawe is an elite marathon runner who did a whole marathon in less than 2 hours. All right. Now, if this person here is running in their Adidas Azzi Pro racers and they need sodium bicarb, come on down to People's Pharmacy. We surely do have something to get you sorted and to help you run the marathon in maybe sub 2 hours as well. So I'm sure we can sort you out.
All right. Well, okay. Promise. I lied. This is the last one. James Burgess is asking, is the recovery drink good? Like, are recovery drinks good?
Good as in nice flavor? Recovery drinks, yes. They are. You need to replace the electrolytes that you have used. Now, mind you, forgive me for not saying that recovery doesn't only include electrolytes. You need to consume food. Like, you need to get a healthy meal after the race. I don't know if persons have ran or walked before. You get really hungry after doing a marathon or a half marathon. So ensure that you plan ahead where you're going to get that food. All right. But electrolytes and the recovery drinks are necessary and very good to have right after a race.
Okeeno, thank you so much for this morning. I'm looking forward to the next one already. Have a wonderful holiday. And folks, I hope to see you at People's Pharmacy getting your electrolytes and everything this Sunday. But have a wonderful day, sir. Are you participating? Are you participating?
Yes, I will be running this year. So when you see me, just, shout me out. Shout me out, guys.
We'll show you some love. Look out for him, folks. Have a wonderful day, sir. Have a good one.
All right, take care, Jamel. Bye-bye, Bermuda.
Okeeno McLeod, People's Pharmacy. That was the People's Focus. Folks, that was awesome. Yeah, he answered that, Charles. I wanted to know as well, Charles. Thanks for asking. He says, are you running the half marathon? We've got Suzanne says, I'll be there for Jamel on Sunday. I want my book. I want Jamel's John Henry. All right, folks, let's take our final break. Again, if you appreciated the discussion with Okeeno this morning, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, colleagues, your neighbors, your family. We're going to be back in a short bit, and we've got the daily play for you. And I'll give my final thoughts. Stick with us.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Okeeno McLeod and everyone at People's for today's People's Focus. Really enjoyed that. I learned a lot. Hopefully you all did as well. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical, Linda's People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis. Folks, if you haven't already, whatever platform you're, give us some love, show us some love. So look, we've got to do a daily play, don't we? Yeah. Trying to figure out which one we should do. No, that's not it. Let's do. No, I don't think you all will like that one. You all see, I'm trying to give you an easy one. You know what? Here it is. I'm gonna give it to you. You all are gonna get this one. You're gonna get this one. All right, it's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, real quickly, before we get into today's Bermuda Trivia, you all did it again. So week 2, part of the Keys to the Past partnership with Curb, we said, here was your clue. Not all ships brought chains that day. One carried hope across the bay. 77 chose a different shore, where freedom waited just ahead of the oar. Find where footsteps first met land and liberty began hand in hand. That was your clue. And within 4 hours, you all got it correct. The key was found at the We Arrived statue. Yes, you got it. But today, we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Today, it's entertainment. And here is your daily play for the day, folks. Which hit Eddie Murphy comedy finally got a sequel in 2021? That wasn't a good enough hint, huh? Which hit Eddie Murphy comedy finally got a sequel in 2021? Here's a hint. Arsenio Hall was in the movie, the original, as well with him. There you go. What? Okay. I was trying to find it. Yes, Coming to America, Charles. You are correct. You are correct. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. Got to let you all go. Awesome discussion this morning. Look, at the end of the day, I don't like to believe that people walk around with their heads in the clouds as if they are better than others because of the job they have, the industry they work in, the money they make, the benefits that they receive. But unfortunately, there are certain folks who feel far removed from the reality of their neighbors, their friends, their family, their fellow churchgoers, and the greater community. Now, a community as small as Bermuda, no one should ever feel so far removed from the reality of others. There are people who are struggling, and none of us should be comfortable living among so many who are struggling. My hope is that our hearts supersede our wallets, and our conscience appears to guide us in the direction of humanity, and that we will at some point collectively say that no person, no human no Bermudian should have to do a crowdfunding campaign to pay for medical care, should be homeless, or should have to work way beyond retirement just to be able to support themselves in a country that they've given so much. As it relates to the conversation with Okeeno McLeod, I learned a lot, and I've made mistakes. I've never had a nutritionist, a coach, or a pharmacist tell me some of the things he said, like how important it is to hydrate prior to my workouts. I've never done that. I always hydrate after. And it was a point up until 2 years ago where I ended up in the ER because of dehydration. I never even hydrated. I would drink water here and there, maybe a Powerade every now and then. But these are things that a lot of people just don't know. So I am grateful, I am thankful that we are having these conversations. They're very important. Even the food part, make sure that you're eating. Protect your skin. Yes, Black people's skin can be damaged by the sun as well. So thank you to Okeeno, everyone over at Peoples. All right, folks. Let me give you some daily inspiration and I'll let you go off on your way. Let's go with Maya Angelou today. Maya Angelou, the late Maya Angelou, says, history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived. But if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Do with that what you will. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.